Hi guys, and welcome back to the Female Fitness Podcast. Today I have the pleasure of being joined by Darren, who is the man behind FitXpo. So Darren, for those of the listeners who might not have heard of you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then we'll get on to FitXpo a little bit later?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me on, Danny. I always feel like I'm repeating myself because I've done quite a lot of these the last couple of weeks. I feel like a celeb, but not a very good one. Like maybe like a Z-list one or something. Yeah, so I am just a normal fella who has always loved kind of the bodybuilding world more than anything. That was my main thing. That's the thing I kind of really have a passion for. I love other stuff as well, and we'll probably ramble on about that later. But ultimately, same as anyone, went to the gym, did all that kind of stuff, did a few bits and pieces, and then got involved with, competing myself. So I competed 3 times myself. Again, I wasn't very good, but I had a go. And just loved the whole journey of it, and the meeting of the people and just that world. It's quite a niche little cliquey crew, isn't it? It's not like, you know, you go down the pub, everyone talks about football, football's on in the corner, at school everyone talks about football. Bodybuilding and all that is a very kind of small world. So then I suppose when I went to Body Power, which was the first thing I ever did like that, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was there from year one in terms of as a fan, VIP, weekend, the whole shebang, queuing up for 4 or 5 hours for Jay Cutler, for him then to choose to go and eat. So then I had to wait on the floor for him to come back, and Kai Green and all these people. And then fast forward 4 or 5 years and I was driving these people around. So I was very, very lucky to have the pleasure of looking after some of the Body Power athletes through a gym that I used to be involved with. And I was, you know, like a kid in a sweet shop. You know, that for me, when I'm sitting in a van waiting for Kai Green to finish his cardio to take him back to the hotel and he's sitting beside me, it's just like, oh my God, like I was a fanboy, you know, and I got to meet a lot of them, and they're, you know, and I kind of kept in contact with a few. And then from the bodybuilding world, I used to help backstage with a very big federation from day one. So I kind of learned a lot with them, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And that was my pretty much 23 weekends a year. That was my Sunday, from driving a van, setting up the stage, doing all the stuff that no one sees. And so I kind of immersed myself in that world. So, but ultimately, before all that, I'm a fan, and I've done it myself, and I still train a little bit and that kind of stuff. And I always wanted to do something, but I never really had the balls or the money. I certainly don't have the money now. I'm trying, but I've been very, very lucky that people have come on board with me and supported me, and friends and sponsors and everything else. And it was originally a one haul, one day thing, but it's become what it's become, which is fantastic. And I'm hugely humbled by the fact that people have jumped on board. But yeah, ultimately me, just a normal fella. As I say, competed a few times. I still enjoy my training, but I also like other stuff as well. I've boxed. I've done long distance running. I've done all sorts of stuff. I'm actually running a lot at the minute now. I'm running more than I have since I was in my bloody 20s now, which because stupidly I think I'm signing up for something a bit daft a bit later in the year. But hey ho. So yeah, that's it really.
And so what was it that initially made you take action and want to get started with FitXpo?
It's hard to answer this correctly in a roundabout way. There's lots of reasons, but there's lots of politics involved as well. But I'll kind of try and do what I can. I suppose I was frustrated with the only outlet for that in the UK. You know, that's just me being honest. But Body Power is a great business. It's, you know, they're a lot. They've all done very well, I'm sure. But for me, I saw it change direction. That's okay. I can say that, can't I? That's not really bad. I felt it changed direction a few years in. I feel it went very influencer heavy versus actual credible athlete heavy, and I think that's a fact. That's not a lie. That's a fact. We had more IFBB pros at our video shoot that you came to than they had at their expo last year.
Yeah.
So that kind of told me something. So from a kind of, I hate to say it because it sounds cheesy, but from a hardcore perspective, I felt it lost that. And my plan was genuinely in the beginning, my original plan was I wanted to do something that was nowhere near Body Power. So I wanted to pick another city. So I picked Liverpool because I love Liverpool. I'm not from there, as you can tell. But I think it's a really cool city. The venue was cheaper than the NEC, but it was also, as soon as I saw it, I just thought it was wicked. It's got such beauty about it, and its location and everything else, that. But I wanted to put something on the opposite end of the year and the opposite end of the country to Body Power, but just be something small, maybe a bodybuilding show, maybe a strongman show, and maybe a CrossFit thing, and that be it. One day in one hall. That's now become 2 halls, 3 days, or 2.5 days, including the Friday night seminar thing. And we've also booked for next year as well, which is great. Crazily, but I've done it. And then I thought, oh well, while we're doing this, we may as well launch a federation. Why not, in the middle of a pandemic? So hey ho. But that came really because, if I'm honest, I thought quite a lot of feds would come with us. I genuinely did, because I don't know how much people know about the ins and outs of how things work, but from an expo point of view, the offer I was effectively giving was, you don't have to pay for anything. I'll pay for all of it, and I'll give you a free stage, and then you keep the money for your registrations and your tans and all that stuff. That's yours. So even if you only get 50 people registering this brand new show, that's okay, because you'll still make money. I'm the one who has to sell the tickets. But no one really wanted it. And I was, oh, okay, that's weird. Same with the brands. When I first started emailing brands, so many brands were like, they just deleted it, didn't bother looking. You saw the C word, and then, oh, okay, fair enough. But then what's weird is now we've come full circle, and some of those brands I was messaging right back over 2 years ago now, would you believe, are actually asking for stands. And I was like, sorry guys, they've got none left. They've all gone. So from the bodybuilding side of things, we thought, sod it, we'll do our own. I mean, it was just going to be one show. That's all it was going to be. And Rick and I spoke from Strom, and he's always wanted to put one on. And I know how to run it from the backstage side of things. So I thought, let's put it together. And it's just gone boom, and it's just grown. And that show has become the most popular. And then we looked around, and I thought, you know what, sod it. We've got some great sponsors here. Sponsors love that limelight. Athletes love to be sponsored. And I don't want to do 10% codes or any of that. I want a proper sponsorship. So you will win with us, the males and females, and wildcard opportunity. You will win a full sponsorship. So if anyone knows the needs athletes, or the strong athletes, or the Cardiff Sports Nutrition, they really do look after them. So without going into the maths of it, you're going to get a lot of stuff every month. So that equates to 1,500 odd quid a year of stuff. So per sponsorship. So yeah, it's a hell of a prize. And again, if I'm going to do something, I don't want to do it half-assed. It's the first year. This is. If we put it on in a crappy venue, people will remember. If the judges are crap, then they'll remember. If there's no goodie bags, then people will remember. Everything is as quality as I can make it. Even and it's scary because, our Bournemouth venue, for example, is stupidly expensive.
Yeah.
But it's the Bournemouth International Centre on the beach in Bournemouth. It is the best venue on the South Coast. It's phenomenal. And it's either like, do we go with this one here that's okay, or do we just go balls in and just go for it? And we said, fuck it, let's just do it. And that's what we've done. And I'm hoping it really works. I'm hoping it does.
Yeah. And so what would you say is the mission statement behind FitX?
Well, that's a good question. If I was to be put on the spot now, and I know it's cheesy again because everyone says it, but we are genuinely about the athletes. We are. Yeah. Every single one of us, without knocking any feds, because that's not what we're here to do. And I have friends in many feds, and I think we should all work together. That's one thing that's really important. And that's why it shocked me really with FitXpo that I thought that loads of feds would come on board, because for me, my thing from day one was always like, you don't go to Glastonbury to watch one band. Like, what's the point in, you go to, if I'm a bodybuilding fan and I can compete with this fed on Saturday and this fed on Sunday, that's ace. That's brilliant, because I'm in shape, so I may as well do it and then go and eat some rubbish afterwards, because there's loads of, and then go and treat myself to hoodies and tubs of this, tubs of that. But I suppose our mission statement would be that, yeah, we're about the athletes, or we give back or something. And I think that's something I try to do through the socials. We're quite famous for our giveaways, and we do that all the time. And that's one, because, yeah, of course it gets followers, and I'm just a little guy here with, and I remember starting the account thinking, why don't people just follow me? Why don't people just follow me? And this is a guy who, by the way, come off social media for 3 or 4 years because I just can't be doing with it. But when I'm running this, and giveaways are always a good thing, but then also to see the gratitude of people and to see the fact that they really got behind that, and then sponsors really want to get involved, and sponsors really want to, because it's exposure for them, of course. So that's kind of grown. And then, for anyone who's come to our days, you were at our Liverpool day. We put on days, and they began as like just ambassador days, and then it, because again we wanted to do something different to what Bodypower do with their ambassadors. We wanted to put these days on where we treat you and we look after you. So if you remember Liverpool, you know, you had ambassadors. These are just fans, like ultimately fans, sitting and eating lunch with Josh Maley, Mr. Universe, Carly Thornton, IFBB Pro, Kiri Jansen, Kamara, all these guys, and yourselves, Jazz, everyone there, and everyone walked away with goodie bags and treats, and they got fed and they got on video and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, we're doing Snowdon, please God, 1st of May, and we're just doing it. Why? Is it, am I making any money from it? No, I'm not. I want everyone to put a tenner to a mental health charity of their choice. I don't want the money. Give it to them yourselves. But in doing so, A, we make money for charity. B, we all get together, like-minded souls, talking about fitness, strength, whatever we want to talk about. We also do a challenge, which is climbing a mountain, which if anyone hasn't done it, it's wicked, and Snowdon's a great mountain to climb. But we come together as a community, and that's what it's about. So all these things I put on as well, hopefully grow that community together. So, and I've got loads of those planned, by the way, that we will be doing shortly. I've gone off on one, haven't I?
No, I think that was really good, Darren, and I think it's amazing that you're doing things like that. And like I can say from experience, the get together in Liverpool was amazing, and it was a really cool day to be a part of. And I can imagine Snowdon will be the same. And yeah, I've climbed mountains myself and actually really enjoy it. So I think that's a really cool idea. And so, when was FitXpo originally planned to go ahead? Because I know it's actually been pushed back a couple of times.
26th of September 2020. So the initial thought was between me and it was actually a guy that I worked with at the time. We chatted, and he actually wanted to do a clothing label. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to do that. There's too many of that around, and Ben Francis is too good at it. And unless we're going to be really good, then no. And then we sat down and we did some maths on it, and we thought, yeah, we'll probably need about $5,000 to book a hall and an athlete and this and this and this. No, it's gone past that many times. And then he got a bit scared, so he didn't really want to be involved anymore. I said, okay, it's fine. Because I said, I don't want the clothing. I want to do something a day. His idea with the clothing was, well, you see pros all the time. So if you just get the clothing on the pros, then suddenly we make loads of money. And I'm like, well, it's not that easy, but okay. And then a friend of mine that I went to uni with, so I moved to Ireland when I was 21-ish, I think. That's where my mum and dad are from. So although we were born here, I moved back. They live here, by the way. I moved back and just to have a summer there, ended up staying, went to uni there. And I've always done graphic design and multimedia. That's what I was trained to do, although that's not what my day job is now. And a friend of mine that I was at uni with said, do you need any investors in this? And I said, oh, I don't know, really. And we got chatting, and he's now my business partner. You know, I never asked him for anything. He came on board as he runs fitness camps, and he does retreats, and he does all that kind of stuff. And he's very gen pop fitness. So he's into his kettlebells, his battle ropes, that kind of stuff. Yoga, meditation. He tells me every day, please meditate today. I'm like, oh, I haven't got time. But he's completely opposite of me. I'm 100 miles an hour, and he's really, really zen and chilled out. So he came on board, and you know, it started off with X amount, and it become bigger and bigger and bigger. And now we talk every day, 2-3 times a day. And it was lovely because when I left Ireland many years ago, this was a time, as crazy as it is, I didn't have social media and there was none of that. You know, I'm 41 now. So I just didn't. And so we lost touch, but now we're back in touch and we talk all the time. But that was when it originally was. And we booked it for September. And I think we were talking about probably May or no, it would have been before that. Yeah, May or June of the year before it would have been that we started thinking about it. So 2019, May or June, got all the contracts signed off. And then it was actually the weekend that tickets went on sale. We had a really good weekend's worth of tickets. And then I think it was Monday that Boris announced that there's a virus coming and we all need to be, and everyone was like, nah, we'll be all right. And even then it was like, well, we released tickets, I think in March, And then obviously by April, May, we were like, no, this ain't gonna happen, is it? So then we moved it. Then we moved it again. So that was to April, sorry. We moved it again, but we moved it because, and one reason only. So it kind of comes back to the mission statement thing. It's because of the athletes, because the venue itself, although they've been amazing, they really have, they don't get it as much because they're not from our world. So yes. if you put on a wedding show or a gin show or This Morning Live with, Phil and Holly or something, then it either happens or it doesn't happen. The sign makers and the stand builders can do all their work. That's all fine. But when you put on a show like ours, it's all well and good, saying people can train at home. And yes, to a degree you can, to a degree. But we've got some of the strongest men in England and the strongest women in England competing at this. Not just the bodybuilding. This is like the strongman. To qualify for our strongest man on the Saturday, at the minute, I've got the leader table here. There's guys pulling 350, 360, 370. So there ain't no one with that many plates in their garden, really, So it's just not going to happen. And from a bodybuilding perspective, yes, you can get by with bands and a few weights, of course. But to be really fair and rightly so, it needs to be enough time for them to prep. And the gyms need to be open. And so, yeah, we moved it. And yeah, we are now July 3rd, 4th. And then when Boris made his announcement the other week, I was like, oh, thanks be to God. Because he's literally, it couldn't be better. It's literally 2 weeks after the whole of everything is back to normal, please God. So yeah, it couldn't be a better weekend.
And I think when you said you pushed it back because you wanted the ideal training conditions for the athlete, that was the right decision, because at the end of the day, you want your competitions to be incredible quality, and the athletes can only produce their best quality if they've got the best conditions to train in. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
And not just that, Hun, as well, but, as much as there are, again, we're not fed bashing, and as much as there are federations putting on shows with behind closed doors, I don't want to do that. It's not the same. I remember when I prepped, and you know what it's like. Part of it is great, but the last bit is just horrible. And, to then showcase yourself in front of no one but 5 judges, it's like, nah, it's a bit of an anticlimax. And, we are year one. We don't have the financial status that some other people have. So I suppose we do want crowds as well for that, to offset some of the costs, because we're putting more money into everything for you guys on stage as well. And I like to think that when people see that, and that's why it's really important for our first show, which is Leeds, all our shows will be videoed, and when people see that video of what actually will be happening, hopefully then they'll go, oh, wow, yeah, I fancy a bit of this. And they'll jump into the later ones. I'm not under any illusion that we think we're going to have 100 athletes a show type of thing. I'm not. It's year one, and we are brand new, and there's quite a few other federations out there, so we've got to earn our stripes. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's about the athletes. I want people to have those crowds. The great thing is we actually go on sale on Monday for Leeds. The great thing is that we are allowed. It depends on the venue, but up to about 50% capacity. So yeah, 300 seated spectators were allowed at Leeds, which is a decent number. And the reason for that is because we've got such a big old venue. Now, if you've got a small venue, obviously it's dependent on how big the venue is. But the reason we've done 300, we could have had more, is because we want to make sure the athletes don't have to be cramped together. There's room for vendors as well, judges, coaches, because all coaches, remember, once they've registered some athletes, get a free backstage pass. That's where we're a bit different as well, because again, from day one, from me working backstage, something that I always loved in the beginning was that you had your coach or your partner backstage with you, because why the hell not? Like, it's fine. It's cool. As long as it's not too cramped, I'm good with that. Because if you've got a girl who's never stood on stage before and she's petrified in a little bikini about to show everything on a stage and she's nervous as hell, then why not have her fella backstage holding her hand? That's cool. I'm all right with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the plan.
And when you originally found out about the virus and the show the FitXpo had to be pushed back, what were your initial thoughts, and what were the biggest struggles that you faced during that period of time?
Yeah, look, it's been horrendous. I'm not going to make out I'm any worse off than anyone else with it all, because there's been some horrible stories. We all know that. And people have all dealt with it in different ways. Some people have gone through and sailed by swimmingly and it hasn't really affected them. Some people have made a lot of money out of it because they, whether they manufactured certain things, and then other people have really been crushed. And the gym industry is something that's been crushed, and everything else. I genuinely, when it started, didn't think it would be on this long. No one did. So for me, it was like, oh yeah, we'll be all right. By summer, it'll be warm, and you don't get colds and flus in the summer, so generally that will drop off and blah blah blah. And then as it approached it, I suppose I just prepared my head for the fact that it might not happen. But you know what is great, as crappy as all this has been, there is no way in the world it could have happened in September now. There's just no way. It's become so much better now. I'm literally here just before you, because I do it all, like, I've got great sponsors, I've got great help in terms of friends and people who support me, but I'm effectively a one-man band. So if you have a go on my competition on Instagram, it's me that's replying. You know, I'm sitting here now designing the weekend schedule, because a lot of people are saying what's going on the weekend. So I'm actually designing that now, as to what's going on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that you know exactly which workshops are on and which ticket you should get. Just get a weekend one, it's easier. And yeah, so I'm doing all that. So I suppose through speaking to Eamon every day, we prepared ourselves, and especially because he's a lot calmer than me, for the fact that we might have to move. But then we saw it as a good thing, because we thought, oh, well, do you know what? We'll be able to promote through Christmas marketing, which we'd never have had a chance to do. We had the chance of Black Friday marketing through November, which we never have got to do because it was in September. And then kind of Christmas came and all that kind of stuff. And we secured more athletes. We secured more competitions, you know. Like the MMA thing, which I'm going to launch today. Actually, I'm doing that this afternoon. I've got a meeting with a guy later. The MMA thing is something I wanted from day one, but it's been so hard for me to get an MMA comp because there's so much red tape and stuff. And again, I'm just a normal guy, and I have a full-time job. Like I normally have a full-time job. I'm on furlough at the minute, which is a blessing in disguise, really. But I just wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't have the time of the day as it is. I'm just non-stop all the time. And, you know, I've gone from not really being on my phone much, and my little boy will be like, Daddy, come off your phone. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to, and I'm writing back messages and stuff, because I think that's really important to get back. But yeah, it's just been mad. But yeah, it wouldn't have happened in September. How did I feel? I've had sleepless nights every night. Every night I wake up in like a sweat, like, oh, and then I'll write something down that I forgot or something to add. But then also I've met so many people and brands along the way between September and then through to April. And then even now, where are we now? March. So we'd be happening literally in 4 weeks. So I wouldn't even be ready for April. Like, you know, I'm currently, it's a blessing that it's become this long, and almost as crappy as this whole situation is, this is one thing that has come out of it good, because I think people are busting to get out. I think the fitness world, it's not an audience like, you know, if we were putting on a knitting show or a gin show or a food show, it's not the same audience. I think people are buzzing to get back. And even though the gyms are open on the 12th of April, I think if the gyms were allowed to open from tomorrow, I don't think there'd be any less people in the gyms. I think people would get straight back in the gyms. Yeah. They are keen to get back. And I think from our event, what we've got to offer for that weekend is for it to fall bang in the middle of the summer, you know, the night out aspect of it, because that's what I'm trying to push. It's not when I launched it first, I thought it would be quite a regional thing, just Liverpool and maybe 20 miles around. But no, it's like, you know, our first tickets were sold in Ireland, our second tickets, Iceland of all places. We've got people from Scotland, Devon, all over the shop coming to this. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good to hear you talk about that, because I think people see these events and they see businesses and it just looks like all of a sudden the event has popped up, or like the business is there and it's easy to run, when in reality there's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And
and I'm naive to it as well, Danny, because, you know, you've got this big empty space and you've got to fill it and make it look beautiful. And I'm very conscious, I don't want it to look anything but amazing. I don't have the budgets of the Arnold and all that kind of stuff, and please God will grow in time. But I've made sure that all the brands are really, really good brands. Like, we vet our brands. We look at, I get a lot of people asking, can we come? And I have to turn a lot of brands away. And that sounds really arrogant, and it's not. It's just the fact that it's for you. It's for the people that are coming in. I don't want 25 CBD oil companies. I don't want 10 teeth whitening companies. I don't want, you know, there's a lot of nonsense, not that they're nonsense, by the way, but there are also lots of things. You think, what the hell is this? That no, I don't want that. I want credible clothing brands, you know, protein brands, everything else. And also, but I want them to make money as well. So, you know, I think Matt from Build and Bake was the first one on board from the foodie stuff type trade stand. But loads of people have come on and asked me, can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, well, but I want these to make money too. That's really important to me. Because traditionally trade stands are very expensive, but we're not. We've price pointed it in such a way, and this is the fundamental reason why we've sold all of our stands. And I'm actually going to put that up one of these days with the actual floor plan soon, because people are like, nah, you can't have got rid of it. No, we genuinely have. Sold my last one yesterday. So, which is great. But the reason is because I've done it in such a way that it allows the brand to give away samples. Because when I was at Body Power year 1, 2, 3, 4, I walked away with sackfuls of stuff, and that's how I want it to be for you guys. But they can't do that if they're paying 6, 7, 8 grand for a stand.
Yeah.
So we're not, and therefore, and it's kind of almost in the contract to the point where, look, make sure we give stuff away, you know, yeah. And that's why our goodie bags and all that stuff will be as strong as they can possibly be.
That's great. And I think it'll make it so much more of an experience for the people at the expo, as opposed to it just being, I think some previous expos have turned into a bit of like purely just a sales pitch from the brands that are there, as opposed to them being able to create an experience because of the price of the stands and everything like that. So it's really, really good to hear that.
Yeah, that's been the thing from day one. And everyone was like, no, you can't do this. From the exhibition world, they were like, ooh, you're too cheap. You're too cheap. You're not going to cover your rent. And I'm like, I don't want to cover the rent. The ticket should cover the rent. It shouldn't be the brands paying the rent for me to put on an expo, for me then just to profit from everyone that comes in. It shouldn't work like that. I want you brands to make money. Yeah. And they were like, huh? Are you sure it's that much? And like, yeah. And do you know what? In the beginning, I was offering stands to sponsors at kind of really good rates on the basis that they give me free stuff and you know, make those goodie bags as good as possible and stuff. And I'm so grateful for those first brands that did say yes. I mean, CNP were the first brand, then it was closely followed by Strom, and everyone else then followed suit. And but what's nice is the small brands that might not have afforded the bigger expos are now coming. And some of these small brands are just run by really passionate individuals, and they're really, really good people, and they deserve a chance too. So, you know, it's open. I'll openly say it. Anyone that came on board with me year one gets exactly the same price for the first 3 years. So irrespective of how big we grow, please God, if we do, it doesn't matter to that. We're not going to just go, right, well, we made loads of money, so let's double the cost. No. We're keeping it. But we will always remain at a certain price point as well. We'll never go silly expensive, because we don't want to become arrogant and kind of price ourselves out of it, you know? Yeah. It is ultimately, like I said, it keeps coming back, and I know it sounds cheesy, but it is about the athletes. I want you to walk out there and go, bloody hell, I've learnt loads. You know, I've got some really good bargains. I've also got loads of free stuff, and I can't wait to go back next year. And I wish I bought the weekend ticket and not just the Saturday.
Yeah. And so when it comes to the different bodybuilding categories, what categories are available for people to compete in at the FitX shows?
So our head judges are Mike and Lisa. I put a video up last night, which kind of explains a little bit more about the judging. Mike and Lisa are pretty much the most qualified judges in the UK. They're IFBB, you know, pro league level judges. They're very, very good judges. And we've kind of built the criteria. They've been heavily influential in that. And it's just nice and simple, similar to any of the other feds, really, in terms of, you know, you've got your bikini trained, you've got your masters. We've added things in. So it's your generic categories that you'd be used to anyway. But we've added a couple in. So, for example, we've added in, where normally it would be a master's bikini 35, I've added in a 40 as well. And the reason I've done that is because when I used to work with, you know, when I used to work backstage, I'd have ladies who would say, would you not look at doing another master's class? And I'd be like, oh, what do you mean? And they were like, let's say for argument's sake, this girl here was 35, but this girl here was 46. And there's a big difference between generally between that body and that body, just because of, you know, age. So we've put in this extra little class just to give that little bit more of a, you know, it's an extra 5 years grace, really. I'm 41. I did classic. So I can't get up on stage against Yannick or Josh. They'd destroy me. But Masters Classic, you know, I might be able to hold my own, because it's given me that little bit more chance because I'm older now. So we've added things like that in. We've added wellness in, because that's become a really popular category, obviously, with the IFBB Pro League. And we've kind of aligned ourselves. So, you know, with our classic bodybuilding, we've made it height to weight ratio as well. Because, for example, with the PCA, it's not on a height weight ratio. It's very much dependent on the look. But at the times, in the past I've been asked, like, is it fairer to do a height weight? And to akin it more with the IFBB, it has to be the height and weight. It's fairer, because then you don't have a guy who's on stage at 17 stone saying he's classic when he's actually technically should be, medium bodybuilding or classic bodybuilding, class 2 bodybuilding or whatever. So, but yeah, pretty standard. If you go to FitX Official, all the criteria is there, nice and simple. We are doing a day on the 18th of April. I'm going to be posting about that in the next couple of days. In fact, I might be posting that tonight. We're going to be doing a free posing workshop up in Leeds. That will be closely followed by one down Compact Way. I think Jazz. We're going to find a venue to get that one done. And then we'll be doing one down south and probably one in Wales as well before the year's out. And these are free. These are for any federation. Don't care who you're registered with. Doesn't bother me. I want you to compete with everyone. Because if you're in shape, why the bloody hell not? I'm not going to be like, no, it's only us. It's only us. No. If you're in shape, do them all. And yeah, come down and it's free. And hopefully when you come there, you think, oh yeah, these are a nice bunch. I might compete with these.
Yeah. And so you've mentioned Mike and Leisha. Who else have you got on the judging panel?
Best of the best, Danny. The best of the best. So again, I'm very lucky that I know these guys because I've worked with them all before. We don't have to go in the rooms of where and whatever, but I was involved with the federation, like I said, in the background, so I've got to know these people. Mike and Lisa are our head judges. We have also got Mr. Universe, Josh Maley. From the judging perspective, we'll come on to that a little bit in a minute, but, I need to make sure the judges are the best. And even right down to the backstage staff, like every single person that is at my show and my little chosen selected team of people that I trust, because no disrespect, but historically I've worked at shows and you'll have 2 people that work there are really good. And then you'll have 8 who came for free food and free t-shirts and hoodies. And it's like, right, okay, but I want people there who want to be there. So I've got a select crew of people. Every single person has competed. All of them. They've all competed. Most of them have competed numerous times. So we all kind of know what we're on about in that respect. So yeah, judging Josh Maley, Mr. Paul Scarborough, seasoned judge, many different feds. Dave Crosland's actually judged for every fed, I think. Pretty much every fed apart from Two Bros. He was UKBFF years ago, WABA, NABA, PCA, he's done them all, Mr. Dave Crosland. We've got Jazz from Compact, so obviously everyone knows who Jazz is. Not as much experience in the judging, but she's got a good eye for it, so this is really important as well. We've got a day in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. All the judges are having a judges workshop. So even if you've judged multiple times, it's a refresher. It's to go through the criteria. It's to make sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet. We'll educate people. We'll go through all of that. And that's headed by Mike and Leisha as well. We've got Emma Hyman, the posing pro, IFBB pro as well. So again, like the quality is just there. My old prep coach, one of them, Rich Oxley. Rich has not as famous as the other guys, but he's a bloody good prep coach. He's horrible to you when he's shouting at you on a Friday morning in your pants because you're still too fat. But he has competed numerous times. He was one of Darren Yates' training partners back in the day in Birmingham. He's judged for NABA. He's judged for some independent shows, so he's on board. Brett Smith also used to work alongside me backstage. He's competed, I think, 58 times. Yeah, he's been in and around. He's done a lot of work with people. Who else have I got? I think that's everyone, is it? Mike, Leisha. Kerry Bexon as well. Lives down on the Isle of Wight. She's competed numerous times with a couple of different feds and won her classes. And Andy Keeler as well from Strom. So Andy has coached Arc Nutrition. So he's coached multiple times as well. And he's competed multiple times. So yeah, we've got a good crew, I think.
Yeah.
But what's lovely is, rather than having the pressure of having these 5 or 6 every single week, I've got this panel of, I think I've got 11. And therefore there isn't the pressure on saying, look, you have to come this Sunday. I've got my little WhatsApp group and I'll say who's available for this show. And I've kind of worked out, because you need X amount of judges. And for anyone who doesn't know how judging works, that score comes off, the top score and the bottom score comes off, and it's an average of these scores in the middle. So even if this person's got that fella on at first, but everyone else has got him at second or whatever, it's kind of based on the average scores of those people. Then you trust those judges because they know what they're doing. Even though someone's mum or nan in the crowd thinks that their little son won. I'm sorry, love, but, trust them.
Yeah. And so we've covered a lot on bodybuilding. What other sports are going to be a part of FitX? And what else can people expect from the expedition?
Oh, thank you. So, as much as I can possibly do. So it is, I always said from day one, I want it to be probably 90%, no, probably 80%. I hate the word again, hardcore, but I want it to be 90% strength and then 10% gen pop fitness. It's probably gone to, yeah, I wanted it 80-20. It's probably 90-10, but I've got to pull it back a bit because I still need your average, no disrespect, your average pure gym and anytime fitness type member that only goes a couple of times a week, but still has loads to learn. And will benefit from it. So we've got, competition-wise, we've got the Fittest, which is a massive CrossFit event. It will be the first CrossFit event, I think, in an arena this year. Again, because the timing has been, I must have bunged Boris a few quid because it couldn't have been better timing. So the CrossFit event will be really cool. That will be a doubles and singles comp over the whole weekend. It's called the Fittest. We'll also be doing a round where you have to live in Liverpool as well. So that'll crown the fittest person in Liverpool. We have got the GBC Powerlifting Pro. This is the biggest powerlifting tournament in Europe and the biggest prize pot. I think they're giving away 12 grand on the day. So that is 100 athletes, the strongest people. Yeah, I know Kira Janssen's competing in it, trying to crack a world record. No, Reece Fullwood's going for to beat his squat world record. Yeah, they're strong animals. We've got the long and deadlift challenge on the Saturday, which is open to all. And I get a lot of people saying, oh, can I go in that? And I'm like, yes, you can, but just have a look at the kind of people you're going against, buddy. We could have very easily done something. And a lot of people were like, why don't you just do this? We could have very easily put on a strongman comp and done beginners, novice, whatever, and had really light weights. But again, we want this to be a spectacle. No one wants to watch me pulling what I can pull because it's not really impressive, even though I'm really trying with my deadlifting. People want to see freaks. They want to see people lifting stuff that shouldn't be allowed. So the log and deadlift is on Saturday. That's going to be really, really good. We've got the likes of Rianne Lovelace competing in that, who is pound for pound one of the strongest women on the planet. Again, going for world records that day. We've got some animals in that. On Sunday, we've got England's strongest man at FitXpo. So Big Loz Charlet, multiple world's strongest man competitor, is competing in that. So the level of athletes competing are really, really high. We've got the MMA submission series. So that is cage fighting, but it's what we've done is rather than having the worry of someone getting knocked out, blood all over the place, and a little kid getting smashed up, we've done grappling. So there's no headshots. So if you're into MMA, even as a child, we're doing kids classes. So it's submission grappling. So effectively, any MMA discipline, really, there is an element of grappling in it, which lends itself to people coming from BJJ or coming from kickboxing or whatever. So they can all get involved in the grappling tournament. We've got mass wrestling, which is this crazy, crazy Eastern European type sport. We've got model search going on. What else have we got? Calisthenics street battle going on. I feel like I've done them all, but there's probably more. But yeah, there's a lot.
That's
but then in addition to that, I say it there and I think, wow, how the hell have I done that? But, you know, I've done it because we've got some amazing people behind it in terms of helping me and saying yes. There's a lot of people who just took a punt on me and said, oh, go on then, sod it, I'll do it. Yeah, all right then, we'll have a crack at this. But again, because I'm offering what I'm offering them is a free space to do it. I'm not saying, right, if you want to put on a strongman, I'll charge you $5,000 and you can have that corner of the hall. No, I'm saying just do it. Yeah. And hopefully we'll start. But in terms of the workshop and stuff, the whole premise of this was so FitXpo statement was always, it's a celebration of strength, fitness, and well-being. So, you know, every single thing you see is interactive. Every pro that is attending FitXpo is training live. Yeah, so I'm actually doing that work. I'm doing that now. I'm actually doing the schedule of who's training with who. Not only will the likes of Fuad Abiad and Jose Raymond be training together, but they will be training with normal folk. So you will have the opportunity to train with these pros, which is kind of unheard of. And normally at an expo, they just shake your hand, and that's fine, it's lovely, but I want them actually training and doing that in front of you. We've got strength workshops, we've got deadlift workshops, log workshops, we've got open fitness classes, so yoga demonstrations, we've got the British Army there, we've got battle ropes, we've got squats, we've got ice therapy where we're going to get people and put them in baths of ice just to, why the hell not? Like, you know, we're just doing it to kind of, it's the Wim Hof method, basically, if anyone's not aware of that, and breathing techniques. So we're doing a load of that stuff. So we've got yoga. Claire McGrath and Rosie Raspel are doing their yoga demonstrations with us. We've got Emma Hyman doing posing workshops all weekend. We've got Dave Crosland talking about steroids, because why the hell not? Because it's a part of the sport. So let's not pretend it's not. Let's actually talk about it. and educate people as to, if you are going to choose that route, then let's listen to an expert to tell you about it, and just to give you the, you know, the pointers as to try and be careful with it. We've got loads. I can't even. Rugby. Yeah.
I honestly think it's going to be incredible, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners will love it to bits. And it's been an absolute pleasure hearing you talk about it as well, and hearing how passionate you are about everything and how athlete-centered the expo is going to be. And yeah, I can't wait to see it unfold. But it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast, Darren. Where can people find you, and where can people find out more about FitX?
So yeah, just follow our Instagram. So FitXpo UK, we've got FitX, literally the Federation Instagram as well. I'm always on there updating stuff. Ticket link is in the bio. Everything's in the bio. We did a ambassador search yesterday for glute wear. That's in the bio. So that's another thing. We're just doing that, which is, you know, you can be the face of glute wear. Again, all the brands we've got, they're all solid brands. So Carly's running that with us. Yeah, click the link in the bio, buy your tickets. VIP wise, Sunday's gone. We've got Saturday VIP left, a few of them, and we've got weekend VIP left. But, and again, coming back to about the athlete, about the spectators, about the athletes, when we say VIP, we mean VIP. I could easily have said, oh, do you know what? Let's do 500 VIP. But no, because that's not VIP, because there's 500 of you. We've got a lounge which has actually got prep food in it that is yours for free if you come. Now, don't take the pee and fill your rucksack with it, but there is prep food in there. There are build and bake cookies in there. There are brownies. There are donuts in there. There is free Monster in there. There's tea and coffee in there for free. You get front row access to the seminars. You get the seminar on the Friday night if you buy the VIP. You get 2 goodie bags. You get a t-shirt. So when you walk away with that stuff alone, that's without going up to brands, you've actually got more than what the ticket cost you in products, plus the VIP party on the Saturday night as well. So if you're going to buy tickets, especially VIP, get there quick. I'm not going to lie and say we're all sold out. We're not. But at the same time, we're not Body Power. We don't have room for 70, 80, 90, 100,000 people. It's a much smaller venue. You know, it's 10, 15,000 it holds. It's nowhere near that size. So they will, please God, sell out. We know it's happening now in July. We've said all the way through, if you buy a ticket, if Boris changes his mind, refunds are given, and they have been. We simply move again. But I think we're genuinely good for July.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for listening, guys. If you do enjoy the content on the Female Fitness Podcast, please like and subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and I will see you next week.
Thank you.